What is the difference between an avoidant attachment style and narcissistic personality disorder? Let's get into it. So the core wound of avoidant attachment style is abandonment, and their emotional needs were not met in some very critical way. If emotional needs won't be met, then what is the point of having emotional needs at all? So as a result of this, there's a deactivation of their attachment needs, and there's a hyperactivation on their exploratory system. As an adult, this can look like overworking, overfunctioning. They might feel smothered in relationships, hyper independent because they learned at such an early age that they can't rely on others. With narcissistic personality disorder, the core pain is not being the best. So some people do have narcissistic traits, but they might not meet criteria for narcissistic personality disorder. There's a very fragile ego that needs to be fed. So a healthy ego identity is when there is an authentic relationship with oneself. There is a foundation where we are not overly self-reliant on external validation. So a fragile ego, hunger for external validation continues to reemerge. And we see this with NPD, along with other people who might lack a strong sense of self. A classic narcissistic personality disorder behavior is the hook and discard. So the hook feeds the fragile ego. This can look like love bombing, seduction in the beginning stage of dating, and relationships can typically feel very transactional. Like things are only good when they're good for me. What can it do for me? And once that ego is fed or they no longer have use for the other is discarded. So maybe the other is ghosted or abruptly abandoned. People with NPD can also often have like a natural talent or be naturally very good looking or very successful, which feeds the excessive need for admiration throughout their life. So to sum it up, avoidant attachment style, the core wound is abandonment, and they're a very self-reliant person. They might easily feel smothered in relationships, need a lot of space and independence and freedom, and they might associate relationships and commitment with a lack of freedom or a lack of independence. With narcissistic personality disorder, the core pain is not being the best. Often a lack of empathy, a disregard for others' feelings, excessive need for admiration from others because of that fragile ego. This person can be very charming, manipulative, and this type of pathology can be overt, like it can be very outward and obvious, but it can also be covert. It can be less obvious to others and much more subtle. Let me know if you have any questions or want me to do a follow-up video on this. Thanks for watching.